How's it going, guys? Randall, aka Shizukats here, and welcome to my Granblue Fantasy Weiss Schwarz card reveal series. In this series, as you can imagine, I'm going to be taking a look at the reveals for Granblue Fantasy as they come out, and giving you guys my thoughts on what I think are going to be the strong, weak, interesting, flavorful, etc. cards that we see coming out of this set. Now, some of you guys that might not be in the Weiss Schwarz circles might not know what's going on. Let me give you guys a brief rundown on what exactly we're looking at here. Weiss Schwarz is a Japanese trading card game made by Japanese multimedia company Bushiroad, and the concept of the trading card game is they acquire licensing for various anime, manga, light novel, and video game titles and put them all into a single card game. You build a deck consisting of one singular title, for example, Granblue Fantasy, and then you play against other opponents whose decks will also consist of a singular title. I've been a longtime player of both Granblue Fantasy and Weiss Schwarz, playing both for over a decade at this point, so as you can imagine, I'm very excited for this crossover between the two. Now, I'm going to be going through all of the card reveals as they come out, so this is going to be a multi-part series, so be sure to check out all the other videos and keep on the lookout for some cards of your favorite characters. But for now, let's get into the reveals. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. We're going to be going through quite a lot of cards per video from now on, as in the first video, it was only just the initial 6 SSP cards, but this time we're going to be going through an entire week's worth of reveals, so we have a lot to look at. As we get more and more into the lower rarity cards, there's not going to be a whole lot to talk about, so those ones are going to be a good bit shorter, but still, the vast number of cards that we're going to be looking at each week is going to definitely pad out the video time a bit longer. So, let's just jump right into this week's reveals. We're actually going to go back real quick to the Sandalphon level 2 combo, as we have now seen the base rarity and SR art, and then also we're going to need to recap on what the Sandalphon does moving forward into some of the later cards in this set of reveals. So, quick review. Level 2 Sandalphon, and this card is going to be a climax combo that goes into the Archangel archetype. Basically, it's kind of like a 000 deck. And so, just to recap what this card does, it's a 2/0 3k. During your turn, gets plus 6,000 power, and then climax combo on attack. If you have the choice climax in your climax area, and all of your characters are Granblue trait, you get to salvage a Granblue character from your waiting room to your hand, and then you can choose up to one copy of himself, or the Lucifer level 1 combo, which we now know about, from your waiting room and send it to memory. And then while this is in memory, when your level 3 Sandalphon attacks, you can put this card from memory underneath that card face up as a marker. And so the idea behind the Archangel deck is going to be you have the Lucifer level 1 combo into the Sandalphon level 2 combo, and then finally the Sandalphon level 3 combo, which is going to look to marker both Sandalphon and Lucifer from your memory. So there are going to be multiple ways that you can get these cards into your memory to then put them underneath the Sandalphon later on, with one of them being with Sandalphon's combo. Next, let's look at the Lucifer combo. So this was the first new reveal. This is going to be a 1025, and it is a rare. And this card is a 1025 with a soul trigger, as you know, choice combos tend to have these days. During your turn, if you have 2 or more other Granblue characters, this gets plus 4,000 power. So with climax, this will bring him up to a solid 7,500 power. Climax combo with choice on attack. If you have the choice climax in your climax area and all of your characters are Granblue trait, you get to look at up to 6 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 Granblue character from among them, show it to your opponent, add it to hand, and send the rest to waiting room. So, fantastic combo for deck speed. Obviously, just like any top check 4, top check 5 combo, the selectivity is going to be a bit more limited because you're only looking through just a few cards from the top. But the fact that it is 6 cards rather than the 4 and 5 that we've been used to up to this point, this is going to be extremely powerful for being able to get through your deck if you do not have any climaxes left. So overall, really strong combo. I believe this is the first time we're ever seeing Top Check 6 add 1 on a 1k1. We have had Top Check 6 add 1 on a standby in Million Live Premium Booster recently. But yeah, this combo is quite good. And then if this card is in your memory when your 3/2 Sandalphon attacks, you can place this underneath that card face up as a marker, just like the level 2 Sandalphon. Now, as far as the way that we're going to be able to get those markers into memory, let's go ahead and skip the Sandalphon level 3 for a sec, and let's go to the Lucifer level 0. So this is going to be the brainstorm of choice for the 000 themed deck. And this is going to be a common. Pay 1, rest this, brainstorm 4, and then for each choice climax sent to the waiting room by the brainstorm, you get to perform a top check 3, add 1. So really nice card, adding into that deck speed that the Lucifer level 1 combo offered, while also giving you the ability to add more climaxes to your hand, which is going to be quite important in this deck, as you're going to be transitioning from a level 1 to a level 2 to a level 3 combo as the game progresses. More importantly, Lucifer's other ability is once per turn when your other Sandalphon combo or Lucifer combo becomes reversed, so when it gets defeated in battle, you can send that character to memory. If you have 2 copies of the Lucifer Brainstorm on stage, you will be able to use each of those abilities within the same turn, so you could get a lot of copies of Sandalphon and Lucifer into memory. I definitely think that this Lucifer is going to be a 4 of within the 000 themed deck, just so that you can establish 2 of them into your back row as soon as possible and allow you to get those Lucifer and Sandalphon combos into your memory, not necessarily as fast as possible, but like in as great a number as possible by the time you hit level 3. We're going to skip around a bit more and go to the Lucilius next. So the 1/1 Lucilius is an astral trait character. So the 000 deck is going to use mainly 3 traits. It's going to use Archangel plus Fallen Angel, which is going to be Belial and Sariel if you choose to run those cards. Although Belial, as we established in the last video, is probably going to be a 4 of in pretty much every single Granblue deck, period. That card is way too strong not to run. Which is, you know, it's flavor just like in the actual game. You just take Belial everywhere if you want that supplemental damage. But Lucilius is going to be an astral trait character, which is going to be the 3rd major trait for the 000 deck. He is a 1/1 red, and during your turn, all of your other Granblue characters get plus 1000 power, and when you play a choice climax onto your climax area and you have 3 or more other Granblue characters, you get to choose either the Sandalphon combo or the Lucifer combo or the 3/2 Lucio early play from your waiting room, and you can send it to memory. And the Lucio is not going to be used for the Sandalphon. If you run the Lucio, you know what, we'll just talk more about it later when it becomes relevant, I guess. But yeah, this allows you to send a Sandalphon or Lucio or Lucifer from your waiting room to your memory in order to get them all set to go for your Sandalphon level 3. Personally, I don't think this card is going to be very good. I think that the main reason that you would want to run this card in the first place is because it unlocks an additional payoff for Lucilius level 3, which I personally don't think is very worth running. I think that I would rather just stick to the Sandalphon game plan personally, but if we'll take a look at the Lucilius card in a bit. We'll talk about the Sandalphon and the Lucilius back to back, because those ones both have a climax combo with the same climax. Next, let's take a look at the Lucio, now that we've brought it up. So the Lucio is going to be a 4 or more early play. This is a rare, so pretty easy to get a hold of. If you have 4 or more Granblue characters on stage, this can be early played at level 2. If you have 2 or more other Granblue characters, this will become 10k base and gains the ability, when this is sent from stage to waiting room, you can send it to memory. Flavor in the worst way possible. And when this is placed on stage from hand, you can heal 1. So 4 more early play, 10k heal. Very simple card. And going to memory is going to be relevant for the Lucilius level 3 in particular, but you can run this card in pretty much any deck you want, and then when it dies, you may send it to memory for a bit of free compression if you want, although that will remove your ability to access this card if you want to continue using the early play heal. So, up to you if you want to send it off to memory. The last other card that I want to talk about before we look at the actual combos is going to be the 1/1 event, which is going to be just, it's the 000 event, straight up. Like, it has the key visual for the 000 anniversary event. So this card, it has the climax combo tag, but that's just because it references specific climaxes by name as part of its effect. In order to use this card, you need to have 3 or more characters on stage that are either Archangel, Fallen Angel, or Astral characters, which, as I've already established, is going to be pretty much everything that you're going to be putting on your board for the 000 themed deck. And then you choose one of the following 2 abilities and resolve it. You can either salvage a copy of Sandalphon's Choice Climax, which is Itekimasu, or Lucifer's Choice Climax, which is Iterashai, or the level 3 Sandalphon Climax, or I guess it's the Sandalphon and Lucilius Climax, which is going to be 000. You can choose one of those, and you can salvage it back from your waiting room and add it to your hand. This is going to be very useful. Again, as I mentioned, you're going to be constantly switching between these Climax combos, and having the event allowing you to salvage the exact one that you need for that point in the game is going to be very important. Additionally, because you can pick up this event off of the Top Check 3 Brainstorm from the Lucilius, or not Lucilius, from the Lucifer Brainstorm, you have a lot of access to this card in addition to the actual climaxes themselves. The other effect that you can choose is to salvage a Granblue character from Waiting Room and then reveal the top card of your deck. And if that card is a level 2 or lower character, then you can send a Sandalphon or Lucifer combo from your waiting room and send it to memory. So that means that there are going to be 3 total ways that you can send these cards to memory, either from the Brainstorm when your character gets reversed, the 1/1 Lucilius, or the 1/1 event. Those are going to be your 3 ways, and also Sandalphon combo. So 4 ways in total that you can send these cards from your waiting room to memory in order to use them for the Sandalphon Climax combo in your end game. All right, let's finally get into the Sandalphon himself. So, as I said, both the Sandalphon and Lucilius Climax combo finishers are both going to be using the 000 Choice Climax. And this card, as triple rare, is going to go so hard. Triple rare, 000, you already know I'm going to be all over that. I'm going to need to pick up at least one, because I know it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. All right, Sandalphon. So, the level 2 combo did end up actually being a common, which was a little bit weird, but it makes a lot of sense when you consider that this level 3 Sandalphon is going to be our double rare Sandalphon, and it's going to be the grand version. This card is on play, heal 1 and gain 3k power, so this will swing for 12-5 with Climax, and that is going to be quite important as Sandalphon's Climax combo activates at end of attack, so if your opponent has like a memory kick backup or something like that, they can turn this combo off. The Climax combo is, at the end of the attack, if you have 3 or more other Granblue trait characters, you can pay 1 and discard a Granblue character in order to choose up to X cards from your opponent's waiting room, stack them on top of your opponent's deck in any order, and then burn 4. And X is going to equal the number of markers underneath this card with different names. So if you attack with this and you put 1 Sandalphon and 1 Lucifer underneath this card as markers, it will allow you to stack 2 and then burn 4. So this is going to be an extremely strong effect. Similar Climax combos in the past that have done something like this, usually they only stack 1 card. A card that comes to mind for me would be Minako from Million Live Volume 2. Or they stack a lot more cards, but they have to sacrifice the Climax as part of the cost, which means you can only do 1 copy of the combo within a single turn. This card, if you just kind of like take a look at its combo, this is like kind of the way I think about it, is it's like a burn 2 if you have 2 markers. It's like a burn 2, but then if the burn 2 sticks, you get to clock kick 2 additional cards from your opponent's waiting room, if that makes sense. Which is really, really powerful, considering that you're able to potentially resolve 3 copies of this within a single turn. As far as the markers, in order to resolve 3 copies of this at full power, you will have to get 3 Sandalphons and 3 Lucifers into your memory, which I'm not sure how easy that's going to be. It is going to require a bit of testing, but I think even if you just resolve 2 of these at full power, and then the 3rd copy is stack 0 or stack 1, I do think that the finisher turn as a whole is going to be very, very strong and very, very cost efficient at the same time. You can pull off triple Sandalphon with only 6 starting stock, which is absolutely insanely cheap because it's at end of attack, and then it's just discard 1 Granblue character per Sandalphon. And considering that the deck is 8 choice, you will have additional opportunities to salvage more characters in order to fulfill the cost if somehow you don't have enough characters in hand in order to fulfill triple Sandalphon. So yeah, I think this is going to be overall an extremely strong card, and is... Currently, it's the only finisher... Well, actually, no, that's not true. We have the Siete and the Nier. Currently, it's only the finisher that we have, like, the full package. We have the full scope on, like, what the deck is going to look like. But so far, it's looking like it's going to be extremely strong. Now, let's take a look at the Lucilius level 3, which combos with 000 as well. This one is going to be a red level 3, just like his red level 1. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can choose up to 1 Lucifer and up to 1 Lucio from your memory, and you can put them underneath this card face up as markers. This essentially means that this Lucifer doesn't have a real on-play effect. Like, he doesn't heal, he doesn't, like, top check 3, add 1, top check X, add 1. He doesn't do anything like that. He just markers for himself, and then that's it. The Climax combo, which is also going to be with 000, is at the start of the Encore step. If this card is in your front row, you can pay the cost, which is pay 2 stock, and then choose 2 markers, or send 2 markers from underneath this card to your waiting room, and then send the 000 Climax from your Climax area to the waiting room. If you do, burn 6 twice. So 6 is already not a favorable number to be burning for. It's extremely high, which means that your opponent has a very high chance to cancel the damage. That just stacked on top of the fact that this card doesn't do anything really on play just makes me think that this card is really not worth playing. I would rather just run triple Sandalphon as my finisher and not really worry about this card. I think if this card was allowed to be used from the back row, so you could go triple Sandalphon plus Lucifer, or plus Lucilius, it could be extremely strong, but unfortunately that is not the case. This card does have to be in your front row, and for that reason, I'm out. You could definitely, if you want to run a more flavor-oriented deck, you could definitely run this card in your lineup, and you could go for double Sandalphon plus Lucilius as your endgame. Okay, so that's going to be all of the main pieces, the ones that are going to require the most explanation. Now we're just going to get into, like, the accessories. These ones are not going to be, they're not going to need as much explanation. Yeah, so let's just get right into it. So first up, we have the 1-1 Hallowell and Maluel backup. Of course, being a 1-1 backup with a soul trigger, this will be easily able to be picked up off of a choice trigger. 1-1 2k backup. When you use this card's backup, if all of your characters are Granblue trait, you can put the top card of your deck into your stock. So, you know, it replaces its own cost and allows it to essentially be a 1-0 backup that can be picked up off soul triggers. This is not something that is even remotely new to Weiss. We've been seeing this for years and years and years now. Next, let's take a look at Hal and Mal's parallels, Azrael and Israfel. So this is going to be a 2-1 backup as well. Gives 3k power when you use it. Unlike Hal and Mal, Az and Iz are not going to have a bonus effect upon using their backup. Instead, they're going to have an alarm where at the start of your climax phase, if this card is on top of your clock, you can discard a card to choose one of your opponent's level 1 or higher characters, and then they must replace it with a character from their waiting room that has a lower level than the card that you targeted in the first place. So basically, you choose a character, and they have to replace it with a lower level card. This is a pretty niche effect. I would not be surprised if this card just, like, doesn't see very much play at all. And there is already going to be another level 2 backup that is competing with this card in terms of which one's going to be better utility, and that is going to be the 2-1 Shalem. So let's go ahead and take a look at Shalem next. By the way, I forgot to mention it earlier, but I think it's really cool that the Lucio's SP art is going to have the Hillel Ben Sahar artwork from Lucio's FLB. So super cool in that respect. And then now we also have Hillel Ben Shalem. And then another detail I forgot to mention earlier is that both the Lucio and the Shalem cards, because they are the speakers, they are not going to have any of the relevant traits for the 000 deck. So they are not going to be a Archangel, Fallen Angel, or Astral character. So you do need to watch out for that if you are putting the Lucio on your board for the early play heal. Shalem is going to be a 2500 backup. and her extra effect is going to be anti-change backup. So you can pay 1, discard 1, and send one of your characters on stage from waiting room in order to anti-change one of your opponent's higher level characters to their waiting room. Just a very generic anti-change counter, but it's going to be semi-staple in pretty much every deck. You can just slot this in wherever you want as a easy one-of. Next, let's take a look at Beelzebub. Beelzebub is going to be a 1/1 Encore character. Not necessarily one that you would want to bring out off of standby. I'm actually not entirely sure where you would even play this card. So he is a 1/1 6K, and he has Encore, pay 1, and sacrifice one of your other characters. So if you have another character on stage that it's already just reversed and it's going to go to the waiting room anyway, you can send Beelzebub to waiting room first and then activate his Encore effect, paying 1 and then sacrificing that other character that was going to get sent to the waiting room anyway. And then it brings back Beelzebub. His other ability is an Act, so you can activate this during your main phase. Send this card to the bottom of your deck. Your opponent must send the top 4 cards of their deck to their waiting room, and then you get to choose one of your characters and give it 4,000 power. So it's like, kind of like, if your opponent has very few cards in deck and there's a lot of climaxes, you can just use Beelzebub as like a tech card in order to force them to mill. I guess that's what this card would be used for. Although we have a lot of cards left in the set still to go through, so we don't know if the set is going to have other common decompression tools like Stock Swap or Fumio that might just make this card completely unusable. But right now, it's Beelzebub is looking like a super niche one-of that you might run if there just are no better options later on. We also have Sariel. Sariel is going to be a level 0 3K, and he has the demerit all of your opponent's characters gain pay 2 Encore, and then on attack, you can sacrifice one of your other Granblue characters in order to gain 3,500 attack during this attack, bringing him up to 6,500. And then also during the trigger step of this attack, you trigger twice and then send the top card of your stock to your waiting room. So this doesn't even actually net positive, or it doesn't have a net increase on how much stock you're gaining for the turn. You're still just getting 1 stock out of the attack, but you have 2 chances to trigger, and then additionally you're gaining 3,500 power. Personally, I don't think this is a very strong card. Maybe if there is a strong incentive to trigger multiple triggers within a single turn, maybe it can activate some other effect that activates when you trigger like a climax, then maybe there would be more reason to use this card. But as of right now, I'm not particularly impressed, and yeah, it is what it is. We have a few more cards. We have Raziel. Raziel is definitely going to be played in the Archangel 000 deck. She is a free climax swap for choice climaxes. So on play, you can discard a climax with a choice trigger in order to salvage any climax with a choice trigger. Normally, these climax swap abilities cost 1 stock, but they are not restricted to the types of triggers that you are switching between. And this card, obviously, with Sandalphon, Lucifer, and Sandalphon level 3, all being on choice climaxes, this is going to be a very obvious one of, if not two of, in every single Archangel build. And it's going to be a 0 of everywhere else, because you have to be running multiple choice triggers, basically. But yeah, guaranteed play in Archangel deck. The reveals that were shown today are going to be going into the Society cards now. So we have Zeta and Vazaraga for today's reveals. And starting next week, we are most definitely going to be seeing other Society members, such as Beatrix, Eustace, and hopefully like Ilsa, Cassius, and Yatima, as well as Cassius and Yatima were both included in the Society block of characters. So we have the Zeta level 1. We can go ahead and quickly review this one. So this one is a 1/04K. When you use an act ability, she gains 3,000 power until end of turn. Again, as I mentioned previously, I think there's going to be a back row character that will have a free act ability that synergizes very well with this Zeta, as well as the level 3 Zeta that we're going to look at in a sec. I predicted it was going to be an Ilsa, so she can just sit in the back row, you know, bark orders and support her subordinates. And I guess we'll see if that ends up being the case in next week's reveals. And then the Zeta combo is on attack. You can send up to 3 cards on top of your deck to waiting room, and then salvage a level X or lower character, where X is the number of Granblue characters that were sent to waiting room this way. And then you can choose one of your opponent's front row and make it lose 500 power. So, very open-ended card. It can fit into a lot of different top ends, but probably not Sandalphon, just because Sandalphon is going to want the level 1 Lucifer and level 2 Sandalphon in order to fuel his markers. But yeah, very solid card overall. And now we have the base rarity and SP rarity versions of this card. So you guys can take a look at those. 3-2 Zeta. So this is going to be Summer Zeta, and the foil is going to be using that beautiful EX art. I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to pick this up. Because funnily enough, it's an SR1. Because this card is a common. So for those of you who aren't in the Weiss Schwarz space, if you take a look at the SR rarities throughout some of these cards, you'll see some that are SR1, SR2, and SR3. The ones that are SR1 are any card where the base rarity is a common or uncommon. SR2 is anything where the base rarity is a rare. And SR3 is anything where the base rarity is a double rare. And because this Zeta's base rarity is common, she is an SR1. And so this card's actually going to be pretty cheap if you're looking to collect this. I would estimate it's probably going to be, like, at most, like, $3 to $5. So if you see it any more than that, you're getting scammed. But it's probably going to be pretty cheap. As far as what this card does, it is an early play healer if you or your opponent has 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room. She has 8,500 base power, and once per turn when you use an act ability and you have another Granblue character, this gets 3,000 power for the turn. So it allows her to go up to essentially 11,500 base. And as I was saying before, if Society gets some sort of staple back row card that has an act ability with no stock cost, that would be perfect for this card, as this card can just be 11,500 on offense basically for free, and then on defense if you use like a backup, like maybe the only real ones we have right now are like the Halmal backup and the Shalem backup, but probably I imagine the Society deck will have like a 1/0 2k backup, just like a generic one that you can use with this card in order to easily boost its power. Next, let's move to Vazaraga, which is going to be the last character worth of cards that we're going to have this week. Level 0 Vazaraga is on play. You choose one of your opponent's characters. Until the end of the opponent's next turn, it cannot move to other slots. And then it has the helmet effect, where you can discard 1 card and sack himself to salvage any character from your waiting room. This is a helmet profile that we've seen multiple times in Weiss Schwarz before in sets like Nikkei. It's a pretty solid one of. That's really all I can say. Yeah, solid one of. And then the other Vazaraga is going to be Summer Vaz. This one is also going to be a common, so that means that the foil version is SR1. So if you're looking to pick up this Vazaraga, it's going to be... This one's... Honestly, this is probably going to be like $1 for the foil. It's going to be $1 for the foil, because this card is not very playable. Level 0 Vazaraga, continuous during your turn. If all of your characters are Granblue trait, this gets plus 8,000 power and plus 1 soul. And then when this card is reversed, you must put the top card of your deck into your clock and rest this card. This is very similar to the Chainsaw Man level 0 from, Chainsaw Man, except I believe Chainsaw Man had a soul trigger, and then this one does not. So that even eliminates another main reason to use this card. In theory, it's a card that will allow you to continuously plus turn after turn, as long as you're okay with hitting yourself for damage, but you don't really want to be hitting yourself for that much damage just to keep a 0/0, even if it is a 9k 2-soul attacker. You would much rather just play more conventional strategies, but this card is super flavor, as, Vazaraga being like the undying character that he is, just going to stick around turn after turn, and overall just a very flavor card that I unfortunately do not think is going to see very much use at all. So that's going to do it for this week's reveals. I'm going to be probably just doing one of these every week, just like the one that I've done here today. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or comments or things like that, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and stay tuned for all of the future editions of this set review stuff that I'm going to be doing. Hopefully we have a lot more exciting cards to look at in our future installments, but this week has been really, really cool. I'm really loving the 000 package. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to what we see coming up. Until next time, this has been Randall, aka She's a Cats, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.